Hi all, I hope you're staying safe and keeping well in this time. Today, me and the History Department are going to talk to you a little bit about VE Day and its importance. So, first off, what is VE Day? Well, it stands for Victory in Europe, and it's when the end of World War II was marked in Europe, so the fighting stopped specifically in Europe. It was on the 7th of May 1945 when Germany surrendered to the Allies. And that brought to the end of nearly 6 years of fighting, and there had been millions of lives lost. There'd been absolute devastation at home with the bombing campaigns that they'd endured. And so it was a real mixed feeling on the 8th of May when Winston Churchill announced around 3 pm that World War II had been brought to an end. And he sent the message that we should celebrate, but like I said, with the mixed feelings that we needed to remember and that we needed to make sure that we didn't forget the sacrifice that those men and women had made. And so it's been 75 years since that day, and as a result, we have decided to commemorate that event by moving the early May bank holiday to VE Day, and so that we can really celebrate and remember the sacrifices that people made.
Okay, so how was VE Day actually celebrated in 1945? Well, the government had been preparing for celebrations for quite a while before Winston Churchill announced the end of the war on the 7th of May and declared the 8th of May to be VE Day, which he declared a national holiday, so lots of people were able to take part. And so events were kind of organised all around the country. For example, people went to huge church services at places like St Paul's Cathedral, which had been bombed during the war. They attended huge parades where there were kind of mass crowds. And at the end of these parades, they would go and see people like the King and the royal family who gave a speech. And most famously, you probably see these images of street parties. So people gathered with friends and family, they danced, they socialised, they sang, and they laid on these kind of great spreads of food. Probably not the kind of food you would associate with a party now because of the lack of things like eggs due to rationing, so they couldn't make cakes, but they were able to have kind of pies and sandwiches and beers. And the mood was very celebratory, so a lot of people were rejoicing at the end of the war and 6 years which had been really difficult for them. However, a lot of these images that you see do come from London, so the experiences for other people were very different. Some people didn't celebrate it at all, and so other people kind of took it as a day of reflection. Particularly if they'd lost loved ones during the war or they were still waiting for loved ones to come home from the Far East where the war was still going on. So even though you do see these amazing images, VE Day celebrations were different for many different
Whilst
people.
VE Day had been declared on May 8th, 1945, the war continued. World War II was still happening through Germany's main ally, which was Japan. Okay. Over here we have Britain, of course. Britain are allied at the time, the United States, and what we call the Anzac troops. This is Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. At this time, the war is really heating up in the North Pacific. Okay. In the North Pacific, there is a major battle in Okinawa, an 82-day battle between April and June. This causes around 160,000 casualties. This is a major battle of World War II and shows that the war is continuing. Neither side are backing down, neither side is surrendering. In particular, Japan. So the United States are left with very few options. So on August the 6th, 1945, they drop a bomb they drop an atomic bomb even on Hiroshima. Many of you have seen the image of the mushroom cloud. The atomic bomb is a kind of a symbol of World War II, particularly in this area. Okay. 3 days later, the United States then drop another atomic bomb at Nagasaki. This causes around 40,000 casualties compared to the 70,000 that had happened at Hiroshima. The Soviet Union, on the same day, they decide to declare war on Japan as well. This leaves Japan, having been invaded by the Soviet Union, very few options. So on August the 15th, 1945, after suffering around 2 million casualties in World War II, Japan finally surrender. This is August the 15th. This is known as VJ Day. This is later on in 1945 and brings World War II to an end.
Hello everyone. So it's important to commemorate VE Day to reflect and to show solidarity for those that we lost during the Second World War, but also as a celebration of the fact that peace was brought to Europe. To commemorate VE Day, I'd like to share with you a poem, and it goes like this. It's over, it's finished, the war has now been won. Thank God it's finally ended, it's finished, it's over, it's done. We'll no longer hear the sirens as the bombs come falling down. We'll no longer hear the aircraft as they fly above the town. No longer see the searchlights lighting up the darkened sky, or see the burning buildings of terraces nearby. We can hear the people cheering as the bells peal out the news, and we gather dancing in the road, dispelling the wartime blues. It's victory in Europe, oh such a lovely sound. No bombs, no incendiary fires, no more sleeping underground. The roads are filled with happy people, celebrating victory. The lights are on in every town and it's such a brilliant sight to see. There's bonfires and fireworks, a colourful display. We'll sing and dance and drink with cheer until night turns to day. We'll not forget the sacrifices made by others in our name. They gave their lives so we might live in freedom's sweet domain. The fighting now is ended. Rejoice in victory. England and her allies will remain forever free. Thank you.
Hi everybody! So I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about what you could be doing at home this weekend, over the bank holiday weekend, to commemorate VE Day. So first thing that you could be doing is you could make your own bunting to display, to decorate your house, to decorate your gardens. If you go onto the BBC website, there is loads of resources on there, things that you can download, that you can colour in, or you can design it yourself. Following on from that, number two, second thing you can do is just decorate your house and decorate your garden using the colours red, white and blue. And equally wear the colours red, white or blue yourself, and encourage others in your household to do so as well, just to show kind of consideration and commemoration. Following on from that, if you fancy a sing-along, there is a TV show that's going to be on BBC on Friday at 8 p.m. And there is going to be opportunities to sing along with lots of classics from the time. So that one might be a nice one to do as a household. I'm not sure when you're going to watch this video, but if it's past 8 o'clock on Friday night, if you've got an iPlayer, I'm sure you will be able to catch up on there. And then the last thing that you could do as well, which I think is a really nice idea, is if you go onto the British Legion website, there is a section on there where you are able to leave your own messages that you obviously can think about and can write yourselves. So leave a message on there just to give thanks to the men, the women of World War II, and just to kind of give it some thought, really. So hopefully that shall keep you busy over the weekend, and obviously just think about, obviously I'm sure you've listened to the other history teachers, but why this day is so important and why it's important for us to commemorate it as well.